Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/slash True Off My Chest, where OP had the last laugh against his cheating girlfriend. Let's begin. My girlfriend of 6 years cheated on me, but I got my revenge. Posted by Reddit user forward scarcity.
This is gonna be a long story, just so you know. My fiancée cheated on me 7 months ago. We started dating when I was 23 and she was 22. She was my first love and I thought she would be my only. We had been living together for 3 years and had been engaged for 1 year, but hadn't really planned a wedding yet, but we were going to. We were in a bit of a down in our relationship, but I just thought that every relationship has those times and I still loved her with all my heart. Looking back, there were signs she had an affair, but at the time I really couldn't fathom she would do something like that. One day I got home early back from work around lunchtime, which normally never happened. I knew she had a free day at home and didn't let her know as to kinda surprise her, and maybe we could have lunched together somewhere or something. When I got home, I saw clothes laying around and heard some noises coming from the bedroom. I already felt something was wrong. With my heart in my throat and legs shaking, I walked up the stairs to our bedroom. The door was slightly open and I saw my girlfriend on her fours with her ass up getting fucked by another guy. They both didn't notice me, they were facing me with their backs. I just stood there totally in shock for what I think was 5 to 10 seconds, but it felt like an hour. I didn't confront them and walked out of our house, got in the car and drove to some parking lot. There I just cried the soul out my body for hours until I felt totally numb. When I got home in the evening, my girlfriend pretended like nothing happened. As cold as I could, I said I wanted to break up. She started crying and asked for an explanation, but I didn't want to give her one and told her I wanted to have her out of the house in a week and that until that time, I would sleep somewhere else. The house was in my name, so that helped. I walked away and blocked her on everything. I told my closest friends and family what had happened, but asked them to keep that for themselves and to have no contact with my now ex-girlfriend. I could stay at a friend's house for that first week, and when I got home, my girlfriend had thankfully left. That first month after was the hardest month of my life. I was absolutely heartbroken, and friends and family of my ex-girlfriend tried to contact me for an explanation, and I got some hateful comments as well. There were times where I just wanted them to fuck off and reply to them that she cheated and she should get all the hate. But I just ignored and blocked them all. The most difficult was when her parents tried to contact me because over the years, I had created a strong bond with them and really saw them as my second parents. But I also ignored them. They weren't hateful or anything, just wanted to talk, but I refused. One of my ex-girlfriend's best friends, let's call her Mary. Mary and I had gotten quite close with each other over the years and would call her a good friend of my own too. She wanted to get in touch with me a few times, but I refused. After a month, Mary contacted me again and said she just wanted to talk and said she actually had had an argument with my ex-girlfriend too, but wouldn't want to tell me why over the phone. I invited her over and eventually told her what had happened and why I broke up with my ex. I also told Mary that I knew she must have known about the affair of my ex, and that I understand she didn't want to betray her friend by telling about it to me. I didn't really want to be friends with her too. Mary then started crying and said she wanted to tell me and that she had felt very conflicted about it. It was also the reason Mary and my ex had an argument, as Mary had told my ex that she didn't know why I broke up with her, but that she deserved it. We talked some longer and ended up sleeping together. Mary eventually told my ex and they aren't really friends anymore, and it kind of broke up their friend group. Also, I wrote a letter to the parents of my ex explaining everything and telling them I was heartbroken by the situation and that I always had loved them, wished things would have been different. I got a letter back saying how they understood, that they always thought I was the perfect son-in-law and that they are very disappointed in their daughter and wish me the best. That all was about 5 to 7 months ago, and last week I heard my ex had gotten really depressed and is in therapy now. The best thing maybe is that I don't even really think about her anymore and I don't really feel hatred, resentment, or sadness about her anymore. When I heard that she was depressed, I didn't really care and maybe even felt some sense of pity for her. Anyway, 6 months later I dodged a bullet and I'm happy, while she is depressed having lost a loving partner, friends, and has disappointed parents. TLDR, my girlfriend cheated on me and now she is depressed while I'm happy.
You've handled this splendidly, OP. You seem to have your shit in order and have a lot of self-respect. Well done dodging that bullet and telling her parents. It's always nice to see karma visiting the people that truly deserves it. Kudos to you, my friend. And now for today's second story. Today I fucked up by getting my son expelled from kindergarten. Posted by Reddit user Allahu Achu.
A boy in my son's class has been a known bully to a few others in their class. There have been incidents of this boy choking other kids with his hands around their necks, picking up sand in the playground and rubbing it in unsuspecting kids' faces, pushing kids down the playground slide, and just overall tormenting by random punches to the arms and shoulders. My son came home and told me about the choking incident, and I was concerned. Then I heard from other parents stories of how their children has been victims of this. Then one day my son's demeanor changed. He was irritable, angry, and throwing tantrums at every little thing. We were shocked by this because he's usually pretty chill and goes with the flow. Through some interrogation I found out that he has been the victim of this little tyrant, and has been hitting him randomly throughout the day for a while. I don't know if it's just a quick jab and it never gets noticed by the teacher or what, but I believe him because of this child's known history. I emailed the teacher about the situation and let her know that I knew of other things that had happened surrounding this particular student. She said that she hadn't seen anything but that she would keep an eye out, not confirming or denying the other situations I mentioned. This boy's behavior didn't change and he has consistently been hitting my son. At this point, and after talking with other parents some more, I am extremely distraught about this. Now comes the fuck you. At pickup every day there is a drive-through pickup line, and a place to grab your kid when they are released on the side. There is a big lawn where they are released and there are lots of parents who stand and talk at pickup after the kids are out. This allows the kids a little extra time to play and get some energy out. While I am there talking with a mom from my son's class, I glance across the lawn and see this boy swat my son in the back of the head. It wasn't friendly and it certainly wasn't called for. My son turns around with a pained look, holding the back of his head, and the boy pushes him down. I excused myself from my conversation and started walking to my son, who at this point has gotten up and started running in my direction with this other boy hot on his trail. He's basically being hunted. My son runs into me, face first into my belly. I wrapped my arms around my son, looked up, and the boy is still running at him, and I kicked him. I put the sole of my shoe right in his chest. Not really hard, not this is Sparta style, but enough to knock him back and on his ass. Call it instinct, an unconscious motion, or whatever you want. I honestly don't even know if I meant to do it or not, it just happened. This was in front of about 100 people. Immediately I'm swarmed by parents asking what the fuck is wrong with me, why would I kick a child, etc. I only spent about 15 seconds trying to explain before I realized that this was a futile effort. I quickly got my son's bag and we walked to the car. By the time we get home, the principal has called my wife and is on the phone when I walk in. My wife is disgusted and mortified, and honestly so am I. It wasn't an okay thing to do, and it just happened hasn't been an acceptable excuse. Later that week, we were called into administration and told that they had no choice but to expel my son, admittedly through no fault of his own. There was a parent-led petition to get this done, in addition to a smear campaign against me calling me violent and unstable. This is a private school, so there really isn't a due process or whatever you would find in the public school system. It's a money and politically driven system, though I don't know if even building them a new science building would get me out of this one. If it wasn't bad enough, this has affected lots of other things, because I'm my son's baseball coach too, and this has gotten around our league. My wife is beside herself and I don't even want to get into how that's going to play out. So this is where we are. My son will need a new school for the fall, my reputation in the community and neighborhood is shot, and my marriage is now probably in major jeopardy. All for a bully. TLDR, I kicked my son's bully in the chest in front of a crowd of people and now he's not welcome back at school and I'm a pariah. Edit 1, so I guess I need to clear some things up. The all for a bully at the end wasn't meant to mean all because of a bully. I'm taking responsibility for my actions. I was obviously wrong. I didn't go into detail about my communication with the school about this issue. My wife and I met with the teacher 11 days before this happened. In that meeting it was reiterated that she had not witnessed what I was describing. I did not meet with any administrative people, but I also informed the principal on the email I sent to the teacher after our meeting, recapping what we had talked about. I probably should have met with the brass, but hindsight is 20/20. Edit 2, since this gained traction, I wanted to add a little more. It seems I mischaracterized my kick, as it was more sticking my foot out to put distance between him and my son. Nonetheless, there was a decent collision and he was knocked down. Some people are stuck on the smear campaign I mentioned. I don't have an arrest record, and I could find hundreds of character referrals for myself, both professionally and personally. The narrative that I am violent and unstable, though without context it may certainly seem so, is without merit and was designed to force the school to act, which was the basis for my son's expulsion. It would make sense to not want a dangerous man around children, if that were actually the case. Others seem to think that I feel what I did was okay. It's not, and I've said so numerous times. Sometimes things happen and I'm ready to accept whatever comes my way. I'm not dodging accountability. I retained counsel after the incident for 2 reasons. First, of course, if anything should come my way from this, whether criminally or civilly, but it seems unlikely as these people don't like involving outside entities into their business. Secondly, to see if there is any recourse against the school. For this reason, I'm not going to name and shame as some people here have suggested. There is CCTV everywhere, including the pickup area and playground. My attorneys have requested it. We'll see how that plays out. Also, we all do what we feel is best for our children, so fuck the people making private school comments and insinuating that somehow we all deserve to be in this situation because of where we chose to put our son. As for the bully's family, they have similar means to us and to my knowledge haven't donated any more money than we have. I don't know the parents personally, but something tells me I will eventually. Something also tells me the parents are going to be much like their son. My wife is mad for several reasons, obviously. She's not wild about what I did, but also that this is affecting other parts of our lives. Since this has happened, she's been side-eyed at the grocery store, getting coffee, basically anywhere she runs into parents from the school. She is embarrassed, mad at the school, mad at my reaction, and mad at everyone's reaction as well. I don't blame her a bit. The fallout from this will most likely be far-reaching. My wife and I had a talk with our son, first about why he can't go back to his school. I took all the responsibility and he is very upset about it. I haven't told him that I probably can't be his baseball coach anymore. He understands what I did and why it was wrong, but also thanked me a few days later when we were talking about it. We've turned this into a teaching moment for him, about how he did everything he could by talking to us, and it was me who failed him. We also talked about the appropriate response to things like this and how what I did wasn't okay. There is a contingent of parents rallying around us, some publicly, others in private, but they are in the minority. I feel like I'm learning who our friends really are, which I guess is a silver lining to this debacle. Lastly, we're not moving. This may be a defiant stance by me, but I'm not going to let this be any more of a disruption than it's already been. We've been in the neighborhood for a decade, our house is paid off, and I'm not going to let the way people perceive something drive us away from the life we've built. The public school we're zoned to is a good one, and it will be fine.
Okay, so this will be more of a rant than an actual opinion or advice, but there still will be at the end. You know, gentlemen, this is why I actually started to believe that the West is a failed society, and I live in a shitty third world Asian country. Over the years, I had multiple opportunities to legally migrate and start a new life and career over there, but I refused every single time. Despite getting more money out of it in the long run, I refuse to be a part of a society that rewards degeneracy. Imagine your child getting physically assaulted in front of hundreds of people and no one gives a fuck. But when you defended him, everyone is now so concerned and are against you, protecting your own son. The school or the little shit's parents could have done 1,000 things to get him in check, but they didn't. Instead, they punished the victims for defending themselves and their child. Don't even get me started on divorce laws, paternity fraud, groups of people brainwashing children that being a whore, druggies, or alcoholics should be idolized and emulated. It is a fucked up world you guys are living in over there. And I truly, sincerely hope and pray to God that it gets better soon, for everyone's sake. Also, being a good father is way more important than being liked by a bunch of fucking morons. You did well, OP, but next time, kick the dad. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.